2024 is the year of elections. More than half the world's population will be going to polls this year, including in some of the world's biggest democracies like India, the United States and Indonesia. How do all these elections potentially impact the economic growth of those countries and the world at large? To talk about some of the economic trends playing out this year, we're joined at the India Today studios at the World Economic Forum at Davos by one of the world's sharpest economic commentators, Martin Wolf. It's an absolute pleasure to have you back with us.
I'm pleased to be with you.
Thank you so much. In the year of elections, when so much of policy and governance will be driven by what helps incumbents come back to power, how do you see all these multiple elections impacting global growth? Let's start from there.
Well, I'm assuming that incumbents will, so far as they can, try to ensure that their economies are reasonably buoyant. And from a global point of view, the ones that matter are really the US and India. The other countries are not going to be able to do very much. European countries, for example, they have very little fiscal maneuver and very little monetary policy maneuver. It's going to be decided by the central banks. In the case of the US and India, I would expect policy to try to be supportive. Biden can't do very much, however. He's not going to pass any big fiscal bills. He's in the hands of the Fed. And India looks reasonably strong anyway. So I don't expect, in fact, the elections to have any profound effect on growth this year. In subsequent years, they might be significant.
Do you want to build on that and explain what kind of outcomes, in your view, can have what kind of impact on growth prospects of those countries? And if I take India as an example, in your reading of the India story, how much of what happens over the next 5 years depends, according to you, on the verdict that the Indian voters throw up in May?
Well, I'm assuming, because everybody tells me so, that the Prime Minister will be re-elected, in which case I assume we will get more of the same, which is reasonably satisfactory, and India will continue to grow reasonably well. By world standards, very well. By the potential of India, perhaps not so well, but somewhere between 5 and 7. And with measurement difficulties, of course, and that it will be steady as it goes. Nothing really profound will change. We know by now quite a lot about Mr. Modi as a policy maker. I can't imagine he'll suddenly be quite different. In the US, however, the election of Donald Trump could be very significant. The most obvious thing we know is he's likely to go for a protectionist trade policy, quite a significantly protectionist one with high tariffs. That would obviously create problems for traders with the US everywhere. It would cause a lot of uncertainty everywhere. That will affect the rest of the world. And Trump might do other really exciting things which are difficult to predict in foreign relations, which again could have a big effect on the world. So that seems to me the election that is ultimately most likely to change the world economy and world politics.